There is no going back to the person that I was before Haditha Dam. This was unlike any mission we'd been taught about in Ranger history. We sent 100 guys and they had like a battalion, so we were outnumbered.
During the 2003 invasion of Iraq, the U.S. military managed to defeat the Iraqi army in less than 26 days and thus depose its supreme leader, the dictator Saddam Hussein. The success of this risky incursion into Iraqi soil was put at stake in the largest battle of the entire war, fought under incredible circumstances, worthy of a science fiction film. While more than 200,000 coalition soldiers attacked Iraq from the far south, a small contingent of U.S. Army Rangers was sent on a special mission, seeking to capture a strategic objective near the capital, a task that was apparently safe and controlled. However, the Americans had not been properly warned about the number or power of the militias that awaited them in the territory. This ambush gave rise to a fierce battle, which lasted for 4 long days in a context of total asymmetry. For each U.S. commando, there were 22 Iraqi soldiers. The Rangers had everything to lose. Their only hope was to cling to their bravery and their knowledge of military strategy, and also to pray for a miracle. Today, we will explore one of the most brutal and exciting confrontations of the Iraq War. Fasten your seatbelts and join us on this cinematic adventure through the Middle East. Let's begin. The invasion of Iraq in March 2003 demonstrated the undisputed power of the American military. In a lightning offensive that lasted less than a month, the U.S.-led alliance tore Saddam Hussein's army to shreds.
Finally, we got this mission. They told us we were going to go hit Haditha Dam.
The Haditha Dam was essentially a very important strategic point for the invasion of Iraq. It provided one of the only main highways across the Euphrates. It provided hydroelectric power to the western half of Iraq. The initial fear was that the Iraqi army might sabotage the dam and actually flood the entire city of Haditha.
The battle for control of the Haditha Dam is considered the largest of the entire conflict. Located in northwestern Iraq, the dam was a strategic target for both sides. At nearly 8 kilometers long and 200 meters high, it was one of the largest in the world, and could supply electricity to hundreds of thousands of homes, roughly a third of the load on the entire Iraqi power grid. The dam even supplied power to Baghdad, the capital, more than 150 kilometers away. As such, its destruction would have significantly affected the functioning of the country's power grid and could cause major flooding downstream. As American strategists planned the invasion, one of their biggest concerns was the possibility that Hussein would deliberately destroy the dam to flood the area, thereby protecting Baghdad's northwestern flank from outside attack. The situation was further complicated by statements by the Iraqi dictator that the American coalition intended to attack the dam. To secure control of Haditha, American commanders selected the 3rd Battalion of the 75th Ranger Regiment. They were joined by a Delta Force reconnaissance and sniper team from C Squadron, while the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, known as the Night Stalkers, would provide air support. The Night Stalkers' small contingent of Little Bird helicopters, consisting of 2 AH-6 attack models and 1 MH-6 scout helicopter, would play a crucial role in the battle. The MH-6 was equipped with a forward-facing infrared camera to identify targets and also acted as a decoy to draw enemy fire, allowing attack helicopters to swoop in on their targets. Intelligence indicated that there would be little resistance at the dam, with an estimated number of 8 to 10 guards. However, in the nearby town of Haditha was a major Iraqi base, with forces equivalent to a full division that included Fedayeen, Republican Guards, and the regular army. The Republican Guard was an elite force under Hussein's direct command, while the Fedayeen operated as a paramilitary force separate from the regular army. The Haditha Dam was codenamed Objective Lynx, while a nearby airfield was named Objective Snake. On March 29, 2003, B Company, comprised of the 3rd Ranger Battalion with Captain David Doyle in command, arrives at a dust-covered airfield in west-central Iraq. There, they rejoin the rest of the 3rd Ranger Battalion, which has arrived 5 days earlier. There is no time to rest. The soldiers receive immediate orders to set out for objective links. The mission? Divert the Iraqi army away from the dam so that Special Operations Forces can take control of the site. It seems like a logical plan. The next day, Captain David Doyle mobilizes B Company, along with a section of heavy 120mm mortars, from the airfield to a remote desert airstrip. Once organized, the convoy of 17 vehicles and 140 Rangers heads out into the darkness of the night. The company reaches its destination at dawn. While gathering intelligence on the enemy's location, Captain Doyle receives a message from Major Kilburn. New mission. Take Haditha Dam and prevent its destruction. Reunited with his officers, Doyle quickly draws up a plan using an old Ranger manual, outlining orders as platoon leaders take notes.
Didn't even think about the fact that I was shooting until after I fired 4 or 5 rounds, and we'd all stop shooting because the targets weren't standing any longer. It took probably a good 30 seconds to realize that we just shot somebody. It was one of those things that I always thought about it, going in the infantry, engaging, the enemy is something that you're supposed to look forward to. Something I always wondered if I'd have the ability to do, and, when it happened, it didn't feel like the way I thought it would feel. I didn't really feel anything.
Minutes before the shooting begins, the Rangers anticipate that the dam will be defended by more Iraqi soldiers than planned. They estimate that at least 1 enemy platoon will be waiting for them at objective links, and a mechanized company is waiting to the south, near the town. The plan calls for 2nd Platoon to take a foothold on the dam, while 1st Platoon secures the heights to the west. 3rd Platoon of Company C is tasked with clearing the area south of the dam, which includes the power plant and a transformer yard. Captain Doyle estimates that the operation will last no more than 24 hours. With little time to prepare, platoon leaders define their unit's missions and coordinate the details of the plan. A pair of AH-6 Little Bird helicopters arrive to provide air escort and support during the assault. After several delays, the convoy finally departs at 22:40 with Lieutenant Graham White in command, following a route designed to avoid enemy forces. As they approach the dam, the terrain becomes more difficult, with hills complicating progress. The convoy loses its air escort due to a breakdown in one of the vehicles, but an AH-6 arrives to guide the Rangers on their final approach. The soldiers breach the last barrier and head quickly toward the dam before dawn. Lieutenant White, along with his driver, guides the formation across a narrow elevated road, desperately seeking access to the dam. They eventually find the entrance and prepare for the assault. Following the plan, the Rangers split up on their assigned objectives. 2nd Platoon splits in 2, with one section heading toward the Western Administrative Tower and the other crossing the causeway. Upon arrival, the Rangers encounter Iraqi guards who are quickly neutralized. However, as they take up position, gunshots begin to ring out. The battle for the dam is just beginning.
Day 4, we start taking insane incoming fire. Some of these 155 rounds would hit at the front of the hill that I was hiding on, and you could feel the force move through the mountain and move through your body. They would rain hot shrapnel down upon us. I didn't know that shrapnel would be hot. A piece rang up from one of the rounds and kind of clinked down the hill and stuck on this saw gunner's neck.
As Lieutenant White crosses the road and searches for an entrance to the administration buildings, he hears a Ranger yell, "He's got a gun!" His partner, Sergeant Smith, spots a figure beneath a sheet of metal. Smith takes aim and records the first enemy kill of the operation. Shortly after dealing with the sniper, 2 other Rangers discover 3 armed and stunned guards in a shack. All 3 Iraqis are killed. With this direct contact with the enemy established, the Rangers are on alert and ready for a new conflict. However, no one appears on the east side of the dam. After finally locating a door leading into the administration building, White assembles 2 squads to clear the facility. Using a hooligan tool, a combination axe and crowbar used by emergency personnel, the Rangers pry open the heavy metal door. White quickly realizes that clearing the administration building will take at least 3 hours longer than planned. The difficult task of clearing 9 floors with 10 offices each, a control room, locked bathrooms and balconies, falls solely to Lieutenant White's section, made up of about 20 soldiers. In true Ranger style, the section methodically clears the building by kicking in doors, blowing out locks, and placing objects of potential value to American intelligence in the hallways. The Rangers begin to falter from the exhausting work when a sudden discovery sends their adrenaline racing.
All of a sudden, these RPGs are flying up in the air and air bursting over us. We began doing gun runs overhead.
I must have woke up the village and everybody knew that we were there. And this thing became the scariest mission that I had ever been on in my life.
On the 6th floor, the Rangers find 25 civilian dam workers in complete fear. Excited by the encounter, the Rangers separate the men into cells, photograph each one, and lock them in. After 4 hours, Lieutenant White radios Captain Doyle and reports that the building has been successfully cleared. Leaving a small guard detail for the workers, the rest of the Rangers move upstairs and observe that all hell has broken loose outside the building.
It probably wasn't but 5 or 10 seconds, if that I was frozen. It felt like an eternity. I never wanted to work on one of my buddies,
A guy named Jeremy Felbush. I knew him all right, I knew him pretty well, I think. We partied together a couple times. He was a mortarman. And, like I said, those rounds are effective. And got him right in the forehead.
We just immediately went to work. Felbush was unresponsive and he wasn't breathing.
Dawn breaks on the 2nd day of the conflict. The Rangers are mourning the death of their comrade but cannot lose focus. As the sun illuminates the surrounding terrain, sniper Ronnie Jones spots Iraqis firing rocket-propelled grenades from the west side of the river, 1,000 meters away. One man is standing in front of an apparent propane tank with an RPG, and the other 2 behind him. Sergeant Narrow gives Jones permission to attack, and within seconds, the silent bullet from Jones's rifle hits the first Iraqi, passes through his body and hits the propane tank, which explodes and kills the other 2 men. Shortly after eliminating the 3 Iraqis, Captain Doyle orders Duncan to move his team to secure the east side of the dam. As they advance, a vehicle speeds toward the Rangers. Private Watson opens fire with his .50 caliber machine gun, unloading hundreds of rounds and stopping the vehicle instantly. 5 Iraqi guards are instantly killed and 9 others manage to get out of the truck, seeking shelter behind the concrete railings along the dam. During the hour-long standoff, the Rangers manage to neutralize several guards and force 5 others to surrender. Sergeant Narrow pursues a group of saboteurs, but in his path he triggers a booby trap that results in his death.
It felt almost overwhelming at that point because the fire got so accurate.
One of our Rangers looked to peek over his position and at that point was hit by the large piece of shrapnel.
Immediately the call for medic came. As we were running, I remember rounds continuing to come in. We'd run, we'd hear the round come in, we'd have to hit the dirt.
In the midst of the firefight, 2 of the wounded Iraqis jump the concrete barrier and try to flee down the steep embankment. Corporal Alfred Birch and Private First Class Duncan realize that they cannot allow the wounded enemy to die as they are needed as hostages. Duncan radios Captain Doyle, informs him of the situation, and requests permission to rescue the Iraqis. With permission granted, Birch and Duncan race down the hill while being attacked by anti-aircraft artillery fire from the south. The Rangers find the guards, give them first aid, and bring them back to the top of the dam, all under constant attack. We are talking about 100 Rangers against approximately 6,000 Iraqis.
We We're essentially a sniper team sitting in a moving target range.
It wasn't until all of the gunfire and everything started that you really started seeing the exposure to different types of casualties.
My position was such that I was able to really watch the battle space unfold in front of me. At one point, one vehicle took a wrong turn, drove through, Iraqis on both sides.
As 2nd Platoon begins its assault, 3rd Platoon focuses on securing the power plant and transformer yard south of the dam. With Sergeant Jesse Reagan leading, 3 vehicles and 27 Rangers maneuver toward that objective. In the darkness, the Rangers spot 3 armed individuals near a small building. Although carrying weapons does not always indicate a threat in such areas, the men fire on the lead vehicle and take cover in a bunker, leading the Rangers to conclude that they are hostile. Sergeants Pete Corrigan and Tom Ballesteros lead the response. After clearing the transformer yard, they scout a steep road leading to the town of Haditha and encounter a large Iraqi force equipped with trucks, anti-aircraft guns, and light tanks. Artillery fire shakes the ground.
And, the artillery's still coming in.
When we really started taking heavy artillery rounds, it was like Volkswagen bugs crashing in front of you. It sounds like if you went to an airport and you listen to these 747s land, sometimes the acoustics will resonate in a weird way where you're just like, you kind of sound. And that's what these carry. It's just huge.
The soldiers report the situation to their superiors. It is then that 2 platoons of Company B, exhausted after 10 hours of intense combat and with little ammunition, prepare for the final battle. The Rangers request support, but due to the lack of air cover and the concern for possible collateral casualties among civilians in the nearby town of Haditha, the Americans are ordered to withdraw. 2 nights have passed. Uncle Sam's forces are exhausted. During the 3rd night of conflict, a vehicle stops at one of the checkpoints. A pregnant civilian gets out of the vehicle and asks the soldiers for water. What seemed like a request for help ended up being a calamitous deception for the Americans.
I don't think I'll ever get over the fact that, they killed, 3 of our guys using a pregnant woman.
That was a real kick in the balls when it came to morale.
But this is when I realized, guys can get hurt, guys can get killed. This is for keeps, this isn't a training mission, this is war.
The 4th day of intense fighting approaches. The enemy continues to fire anti-aircraft artillery and mortar rounds. The Rangers remain calm and precise despite everything, allowing them to destroy most of the anti-aircraft guns and light tanks. The Iraqi force, composed of nearly 100 men and several artillery pieces, is gradually neutralized. Finally, Company B of the 3rd Battalion manages to secure the dam. For the next 5 days, the Rangers repel constant Iraqi counterattacks.
We were preparing for the worst, to say the least. At some point, an airstrike was called in and, quickly, neutralized that as a threat.
It kind of had calmed down a little bit, like towards day 5 or something like that. I mean, when I say calm down, we weren't getting 200 rounds each day. We were getting, sporadic things blowing up around us.
I believe it was day 6 when the conventional army finally does come.
It is estimated that in the entire battle, the Rangers inflicted casualties of between 300 and 500 combatants, including several dozen guards who were attempting to sabotage the dam. As a result, 6 Rangers were wounded and 3 were killed. These brave soldiers will always be remembered for their sacrifice in combat. Due to their bravery during the mission, both Birch and Duncan were awarded a Silver Star.
Hear that sentimental violin music in your head as you're taking off and just kind of trying to put yourself in perspective of something that you could never be able to put in perspective.
I was so exhausted by the time, we got picked up. The guys that I've been fighting alongside were even more tired than I was. At the same time, I think we were all pretty excited getting pulled off.
The capture of the Haditha Dam was one of the longest battles of the war, but also one of the most crucial. The Rangers proved once again that they could take on any challenge that came their way. This is how we come to the end of this video. We thank you for having accompanied us this far, and we suggest that you subscribe to our channel to receive new videos about the Iraq War. Until next time.